Hey friend, welcome. If we haven't met, I'm Jen. I'm a part-time online clothing reseller, which means I go to thrift stores, I buy used clothes, I list them on eBay and Poshmark, and I sell them hopefully for a profit. Today is, I did it again, Wednesday. It's Wednesday, know that, September 18th. And I sold 3 items yesterday in the last 24 hours, so the gross sales amount is $80.39. It was definitely a low day on the roller coaster of reselling. There are some higher days, there's some lower days. This one was a lower day. And that happens sometimes. So I have to remember to look at the big picture. And actually I did that this morning. I was feeling really discouraged because I felt like I just felt like this month has been kind of sluggish, and I've had some really good days, but I felt like overall, and then I looked at my month to date and I'm actually way above where I normally am a little after halfway through the month. So looking at the big picture definitely helps. This is a vintage sweater vest and it's Robert Bruce. It's made in the USA. That's a good thing. I believe it's acrylic. If I remember correctly, this doesn't have a fabric tag, but it's just a sweater vest. It does have these really cool buttons. They look like they're woven, kinda, if that makes sense. Anyway, I was playing with some comps this morning because I had 3 items and a little bit of time. So I looked up vintage sweater vest Robert Bruce, and the average sale price was $14.18. Yikes. With a 9% sell-through rate. Double yikes. And that wasn't good. So I left off Robert Bruce and just looked up vintage sweater vest. And although it didn't do much for the sell-through rate, because it's still only 10% and not 9%, the average sale price increased dramatically to $21.46. I priced mine at $30. That's just kind of my own personal, $29.96, $30. That's just kind of my own personal thing where I price my vintage sweater vests, sweater vests, anything, cardigans. Unless the comps tell me otherwise because of a specific brand, or if it's cashmere or it has a really cool design, or it's like anyway, unless there's some reason to not. The person used, I have a 15% off coupon that is always on my store. They used that and then paid shipping because it's eBay. So they paid a total of $32.47. This came from a Salvation Army rummage sale. We don't have a store in our town, so the church does a rummage sale quarterly. They do bag sales, so my cost of goods on that was only 50 cents. Took 2 months to sell, and so my profit is $21.53 on that sweater, which I think is fantastic. I'm happy with that. This is another vintage sweater. There's kind of a theme today. This is it's vintage. It's like real chunky knit. I think it has wool in it. I don't remember. Yeah, oh shoot, it's lamb's wool. I know I noted that when I listed it, but when I was doing my comps, I didn't put that in. So anyway, it's like a real chunky knit to it, which will come into play here in a second for you. It's American Eagle. I forgot to show you that. Yeah, so it's made in Hong Kong, which to me indicated that it was vintage. It also looks like something I would have worn in 1998. When I felt like, no, not then. Like style-wise, I think I felt like the best version of myself in like 02 when I was 22. I don't know. And now I feel like I'm kind of coming into my own style now. You probably don't see it much because I don't know. I'm pretty basic in my style. There we go. How about that? and I keep picking fuzzies off. I actually spent like 10 minutes doing this before. Okay, so I looked up American Eagle vintage, I think cardigan, and the average sale price was $21.30 with a 9% sell-through rate. So again, not super great. But then I added the word chunky, and that's where I'm saying like I should have added lamb's wool also, because I think that would definitely play into the comps on that. So with chunky, the average sale price didn't change much. It added 24 cents. Woo, I'll take that extra almost quarter. And but the sell-through rate went from 9% to 29%, which is a huge difference. It's still not a great sell-through rate, but it's a huge difference between 9 and 29. So I had mine listed for $24.96, again based on comps, because this one just didn't have high comps at all. They used, actually I'm not sure they did. I paid a lot for shipping if they used that 15% off coupon. They paid a total of $36.92. And I've had this for 7 months. I bought it at the bins where you pay by the pound. I averaged my cost of goods there at $2, and so then that makes my profit $21.71. Sometimes I make some money on shipping. So I do calculated shipping, and eBay just kind of says what it's gonna cost from my house to their house based on the size of my package, which I know what my package sizes are, and I know when I'm listing kind of what I'm gonna put the package in, what package I would put it in, and the weight of the item. And when I'm listing, I weigh every single item before I put it away. So I have these little bags that are numbered, and I go in order. I don't reuse numbers. I just took this out of order, which is gonna be annoying for me later. And when I'm listing it, then I just put this little bag on my scale, which this is my little scale. I actually use, it's a food scale, but it's worked for me. I started using it when I first started reselling 3 years ago, and I was like, I'll just replace it in a couple months, and it's still working. And I really am not wrong, like, because you'll get charged extra if you ship some. For me, this has been my experience. I never want to tell you what to do. That's not ever my goal. I think we are all so different, and there's no way to say this is what you should do. I have been charged occasionally, and actually it's usually the reverse, where they give me money back because I've overpaid. That has happened a few times, but they will even fewer times if I've paid for, say, a 12-ounce package and my package is actually 15 ounces, then they'll charge me that extra money after the fact. That doesn't happen very often, which makes me think that my weigh is pretty accurate. So anyway, I hope that explains that. As always, feel free to ask any questions. Sometimes I don't do a great job of explaining myself. But eBay, you want my tape? You want my scissors? Okay, there you go. Hold them correctly, please. eBay makes a guess at how much that's going to cost. An educated guess, right? And then they give me a discount on that. So this person paid, oh shoot, I threw the thing away, roughly $10 or $12 in shipping. But eBay gave me a discount and I only paid $8 in shipping. So I made like $4 on my shipping. It's not really my intent to do, but that happens sometimes. Usually, there was one day that the discounts are always very different. And there was one day, one of my discounts was 6% and another one of my discounts was 42%. I was like, what is with the inconsistency here? It was weird, but usually it's around 25%. So I'll take it. I'm happy with that. This is a sweatshirt. It's very basic and plain. It is Tommy Bahama. But this is one of those things that, well, first of all, I accidentally typed sweater shirt into the search bar, and there was one item. It was 100% sell through. One item sold for like $90. So I don't know what a sweater shirt is, but if you find it, you might want to grab it. You can send it to me if you want. I don't care. No, I'm teasing. Anyway, Tommy Bahama sweatshirt had an average sale price of $24.67 with an 11% sell-through rate. Pretty low. Seems to be the theme today. That's the very obvious theme. I added crew neck because crew neck seems to be the style. I hate a crew neck sweatshirt. It makes me feel like I'm choking. It bothers me. But they're very popular right now. So I added crew neck, and again, it didn't change the average sale price that much. Added like 80 cents, $25.48. But it moved the sell-through rate to 27%. So yeah, I find that really, really interesting, just the differences there. Just by adding one difference, right? It can change the sell-through rate drastically. And I think that's why I hear people talk about, keywords so much. Like, those are really important. I don't think I'm very good at keywords. And so that's part of the reason I don't like share my titles with you or anything, because they're not magic. I mean, they're not that great. It's pretty basic. But I do try to add some of those things. If it's USA made, if it's a crew neck, especially with a vintage sweater, crew necks and like geometric or stripes, those things tend to have higher sell-through rates. Chunky, adding Y2K. I don't know. I feel like I sell a lot of vintage sweaters, so I know a smidge about that, I know a few things of what they're looking for. Higher material, like that lamb's wool sweater. I definitely put lamb's wool in the title, but I just forgot about it when I was doing my search today, so I didn't tell you about this sweatshirt. This Tommy Bahama sweatshirt sold for $13. I've had it for 11 months. I bought it at a garage sale for $3. It's sold on Poshmark, which is why I used a priority envelope, because you can use priority envelopes, and then I don't have to use my money to buy poly mailers. And that makes my profit $7.05. So I don't like to sell much under $15 on Poshmark, but I'd had that for so long, and I actually double checked to see how much I paid for it. My cost of goods is generally pretty low, but sometimes I make mistakes and I pay way too much for things. I just listed something yesterday that I paid like $6 for, and when I looked at comps, I only listed it for $20, and I was so frustrated with myself, but it happens. Anyway, that's kind of the crazy roller coaster of reselling, right? There's some trains in the background, there's some really good days, there's some really good items, and then there's some days that just go slower, and it can be frustrating and discouraging. And I just want to encourage you to keep moving past those slow days. And sometimes those slow days can, turn into slow weeks. And definitely, just coming out of summer, they call it summer slowdown for a reason, because it does slow down. July was definitely my lowest month of the year, I think. Yeah, that's right. So August was a little better, and it looks like September is doing pretty good. So, but stepping back, looking at the big picture, knowing that, the $50, it was $50.29 was my profit for today. Knowing that $50 is going to add up to other $50 and other $50 and $100, that it really makes a difference for my family when, it helps to look at it like that. So we're heading to the zoo. That's what we're doing today. We like the zoo. So we're going there. We'll probably hit a thrift store on the way home, because that's how I roll. My kids know it. But leave me a emoji. Emojis are fun. Leave me an animal emoji. What's your favorite animal? Your favorite zoo animal? And yeah, like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you haven't already. I do these ship with me videos every day at 8 p.m. Eastern, except I have had trouble with my uploads lately. They are just taking forever. Like my yesterday's upload didn't upload until like 1 a.m. So you can put there's like a little bell and it will actually notify you when my videos upload in case they upload late. Hopefully it's not notifying you at 1 a.m., but maybe where you are, it's not 1 a.m. when it's 1 a.m. for me. Maybe that might be the case. All right. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you hanging out with me. I'll see you soon.